there are some notable stories of Vince McMahon being rather intimidating as a boss. In fact, some talent have said that the WWE chairman is so scary that they would do anything to avoid crossing his path. When Vince McMahon informs a talent of creative plans, they usually have to go along with it, as after all, it is their job. However, on occasion, a superstar can outright refuse to follow Vince's creative orders. But which times were they? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE superstars who told Vince no. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10. Neville. Neville's Cruiserweight title reign in 2017 received widespread praise from fans. Neville was a heel for the first time in his WWE career, and he truly found his place as a compelling, sinister villain. WWE rather shockingly decided to book Neville to drop the Cruiserweight title to Enzo Amore at the No Mercy pay-per-view, and this didn't sit well with Neville. In fact, Vince McMahon wanted Neville to put Enzo over once again on the Raw following the pay-per-view, but Neville declined Vince's creative orders. Neville was so frustrated with the creative direction that Vince wanted to take his character that he walked out of the company, opting to never return. Number 9. Mustafa Ali. And when a WWE superstar has the courage to tell Vince McMahon no, it can go a number of ways. Either Vince obtains a newfound respect for the superstar, or it can seriously damage their WWE career. This was seen when Mustafa Ali and Vince were having a discussion in relation to Ali's future character, and Vince wanted Ali to perform a character and a storyline which he would have never done. Now, it's unclear what this storyline was, but fans have theories that it was rather controversial in nature. It is believed that an argument between Ali and Vince ensued, as Vince didn't like that Ali was refusing to follow his creative direction. Ali standing up for himself had grave consequences, as Ali was pulled from WWE television and eventually requested his release from WWE in January of 2022. As of the time of this video, that release request has been rejected. Number 8. Rob Van Dam. During the Ruthless Aggression era, tribute to the troops often took place in Iraq and Afghanistan. Although it wasn't compulsory for WWE superstars to perform on the shows, after all they were competing in a literal war zone, it was a clear unwritten rule that all superstars should attend. But Rob Van Dam didn't feel comfortable attending the Tribute to Troops taping, and he decided to inform Vince directly that he would not be in attendance. It is believed that Vince attempted to change RVD's mind, but it was a wasted effort, as RVD simply refused to travel. According to Jim Ross, Vince believed that this was an unpatriotic act, and JR even claims that RVD may have never recovered from this act of defiance. Number 7. The Shield. It's rare for newer WWE superstars to stand up to Vince McMahon and reject his creative plans, but that is exactly what The Shield did in 2013. At the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, the popular trio were booked to face the team of John Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback. Vince's initial creative plans for this match called for The Shield to lose, with Cena being the star of the match. This would have seen The Shield take their first loss in WWE. Now, the Shield members knew that this wasn't the right creative move, and rather bravely, they decided to tell Vince that this wasn't the way to book the match. Amazingly, Vince actually listened. He appreciated them standing up for themselves, and the finish of the match was changed in favor of the Shield being victorious. Number 6. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin's star power was unmatched in 2002, and he was still the biggest star in the company. On a random episode of Raw in that year, Vince McMahon wanted Austin to put over Brock Lesnar. This was during a time period when WWE had big plans for Lesnar, but had only recently debuted, and a big win over Austin would have been a huge deal. Austin told Vince that he wouldn't be losing to Lesnar, and he proceeded to walk out of the company. Austin believed that putting over Lesnar on free television with zero build made little business sense and could have potentially damaged the credibility of his character. This created a ton of friction between Austin and Vince, and Austin wouldn't return to the company until February of 2003. Number 5. Roman Reigns. And one of the top matches on the WrestleMania 36 match card was set to be Goldberg defending the Universal title against Roman Reigns. However, WrestleMania coincided with the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, and these drastically halted WWE's booking plans. Reigns felt uncomfortably performing for WWE during the height of the pandemic and decided to put his health first. Reigns would inform Vince that he wasn't going to be at WrestleMania 36, and he wouldn't be at any subsequent shows until SummerSlam in August. Vince was forced to change the creative plans, and Reigns would be substituted in favor of Braun Strowman. Luckily for Reigns, this didn't impact his position on the card, as when he returned, he was once again presented as the top star in the company. This involved an acclaimed heel turn and subsequent Universal title victory. Maybe wrestlers should say no to Vince more. Number 4, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. At WWE's power couple, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon have turned down some downright outlandish ideas which have been pitched by Vince McMahon. Notably, Vince wanted to air Triple H and Stephanie's actual wedding live on pay-per-view. This was something that Triple H personally felt uncomfortable with and quite rightly said no. In relation to Stephanie during the Ruthless Aggression era, Vince wanted to deliver a storyline which would see him revealed as the father of Stephanie's child. Thankfully, Stephanie shot this idea down. Even though Stephanie shot the idea down, this didn't stop Vince from trying to influence her into changing her mind. Vince actually suggested that Stephanie's own brother Shane was instead revealed as the father. Yet again, Stephanie refused to go along with these truly unbelievable creative plans. Number 3, Edge. There were a number of names that were considered to break The Undertaker's WrestleMania win streak. These ranged from Kurt Angle to Mark Henry, but the closest WWE got to booking the streak to end before WrestleMania 30 was way back in 2008. Vince McMahon actually wanted Edge to be the one to break the streak at WrestleMania 24. Edge realized that this wasn't the right move, and he told Vince as well as the WWE creative team that he wasn't the guy for the monumental victory. Edge would instead go on to put The Undertaker over in the main event of the pay-per-view. Number 2, John Cena. The 2018 Crown Jewel pay-per-view saw 2 WWE stars pull out of the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view was taking place in Saudi Arabia, and the kingdom was hitting headlines for their involvement in the suspicious death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. This meant that WWE had to consider an alternative venue for the pay-per-view, but they eventually decided to commit to having the event in Saudi Arabia. Now, although this was terrible PR for WWE, 2 top stars refused to go to the event as they were told Vince McMahon that they would not be in attendance for their planned matches. One of these was Daniel Bryan and the other was John Cena. In relation to Cena, he was set to be a key part of the WWE World Cup tournament, but due to the issues surrounding Saudi at the time, Cena pulled out. And number 1, Brock Lesnar. Jinder Mahal's WWE title reign was one of the most infamous reigns in recent memory. Jinder went from resident WWE jobber to WWE champion virtually overnight. And when it came to the 2017 Survivor Series pay-per-view, it was revealed that WWE was going to book the Universal Champion versus the WWE Champion. This would then see Brock Lesnar face Jinder Mahal. According to reports, Lesnar outright refused Vince McMahon's creative plans and insisted that these plans were immediately changed. This outright act of defiance would usually be punished, but with Lesnar having a ton of backstage power, the WWE chairman had no choice but to listen. Vince decided to put the title on AJ Styles, meaning that the match for Survivor Series became AJ vs Lesnar in the first time ever dream match. Ultimately, Lesnar made the right decision as AJ and Lesnar went on to have an acclaimed matchup which continues to be celebrated today. But there you have it folks, 10 WWE superstars who told Vince McMahon no. Be sure to leave your comments down below and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.